Oh, Pat worked with them before he went to Department of Transportation. They used to build houses. Yeah.
Now, when you came in town,
Yeah.
where did you live after you were on your own?
Oh, where did I live at? I lived down on the, what's the name of the street I lived on? I used to live on Abraham Street, see?
Where is that, more downtown?
Downtown, Abraham Street, over across, you know where St. Mary Mercy Home is?
Okay, around there.
There's a drugstore, right down over there was Abraham Street.
So did you have then a little apartment, or did you rent a room, or what?
No, I was renting downstairs. Mary Wall and Dan Wall, they were friends of mine, I went renting with them.
Now, is that the Walls actually have a place in Northern Bay?
Oh, no, different
That's
town.
different.
No, different town.
And then you met Pat?
Yeah, to a blind date.
I see. And after you had the first date, did you go back? Did you not have a date, or did you keep going dating after that?
After that, and I broke up with Pat for a long while and went back with him again.
Did you?
And up the Southern Shore, Johnny and them, they had beautiful, there wasn't a little old cabin, it was just like a small house.
Yeah.
My gosh, the beautiful scene up there, the pond up there is beautiful. Johnny and
They had a
Paul,
cabin?
They had nice cabin. Like,
But it looked like a nice house,
looked
did it?
like, yeah. And Johnny and Paul, the three of them, the three of them, we used to work together, see? And one night, anyway, Josie, I was going out with this other guy, way back. So anyhow, I boarded at Mr. Billis on Marbury Street, and Mr. Billis said to me, Alicia said, Pat's a better man than Bruce.
Did you?
It was comical, though. Yeah.
And would Pat still try to contact you when you broke up?
Yeah, oh yes, yeah. Yeah.
And how old were you when you married him?
I was
40s?
40. I was going out for Pat for just about 2 years, and I was 38, and I got married when I was 40.
Now, when you were going out with him, did you take him around the bay before you
Pat,
got married?
Yeah, Pat was over to the house, over the nan's.
Before you got married?
Yeah. But I left that Pop say, but he said to me, Alicia, I said, yeah, what kind of, what religion is that? You know those people.
Yeah.
God,
But now, when you came around the bay, did they think you shouldn't bring the boyfriend around the bay? You're not married?
Yeah.
No.
No, Pat, no, they weren't.
He didn't say anything then?
No, they weren't like that.
No. And when you ran around the bay, you wouldn't sleep together, though, would you?
Oh my God, no.
No, he's sleeping on the couch.
Oh, Papa have a fit. God.
So how old were you when you left Northern Bay?
I was 19.
19.
But you know, I went to Stephenville and you know the old train way back years ago.
Where'd you get the train on Carbonear?
You know, I got in St. John's. I got
In
the
St. John's?
yeah.
And
What
you were
a
19.
long drive that was on the whole train, right?
Yes, and it was a long drive just to get in St. John's at the time.
At the time, yeah.
Do you remember who you came in town?
Yeah.
Was it Tommy Millie? Was it
I came in Mr. Millie, I think, yes.
Mr. Millie?
Yeah.
And when you left Northern Bay at 19,
Yeah.
did you ever go back and live with your parents in that house in Northern Bay after that, or you never went back?
No, I used to go back for my holidays and stuff like that.
Yeah, but like you went back to visit them.
Visit, yeah.
So after you left Northern Bay the first time, you didn't go in the convent?
No. I left Stephenville, went in the convent.
Oh, I see. So you went to... Mary was already in Stephenville and
Mary was
Gertrude?
in Stephenville. I used to board with Mary and Mick. Yeah.
And did you help Mary out like with the kids and stuff?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Was Gertrude in there then?
Gertrude, no, I don't think Gertrude was in there then.
No. And
Now, Mary,
would you come out with Mary and Mick then if they came out in Northern Bay in the summer?
Oh my God, yes, yeah.
They drive out, would they?
They used to drive out.
Yeah, I remember them coming.
That's the way back, see?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyhow, Bowling companies, they had a great big restaurant. Bones, Pat worked for the Bones company. I and Mary worked for the Bones company. We used to work in the restaurant.
And did Pat live in there too?
Yeah, Pat lived in
So after you got married to Pat, did you go back in Stephenville?
No, I lived in Stephenville. I know after married to Pat, I came home, when I came out of the convent, I was going out for Pat for a while before I got married.
Yeah, but you said Pat. Did Pat ever live in Stephenville?
No, Pat.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you lived in Stephenville, did you have a boyfriend?
My God, he had a boyfriend.
That guy, that picture Joe showed me.
Yeah, but I had more boyfriends besides
Where
that.
did you meet him, that handsome man that Joe showed me?
I told
Who was he?
Sergeant Seal and Mrs. Seal, they were friends of mine from some part of the States.
Yeah.
So I used to go over to Sergeant Seal's, and that's how I met Scott.
And was that in Scott? Was that in Stephenville?
Yeah, in Stephenville.
And
now he came from Sacramento, California.
I see. He was a handsome boy.
Do you know something?
Wasn't he?
Now wait until I tell you, Eugene. He became a Catholic because we were getting married. See, Mary and Mike stood up for him.
So he was a Protestant converted over because you wanted to marry him, did you?
We were getting married. Yeah.
How come you didn't marry him?
Yeah, but I tell you, you know, on my didn't have all my papers right to get in to live in the States.
I see.
And he sent me my plane ticket and everything.
So he went back to the
He
States?
went back, yeah.
But he
now,
wanted-
Now
he-
his mom and dad passed away, and he used to live with his grandmother.
I see.
Yeah.
So what was he doing in Stephenville? Was
He
he
was in the Air Force.
because of the war?
The war, yeah.
And then when you look back on him, he was going to marry you, was he?
Yeah, we were going to get married.
Yeah.
I didn't have, I forgot, then I had all, yeah, I couldn't get in the States to live then.
So then it sort of drifted away.
I drifted away, yeah. But of course, he became a captain, and he...
Do you have fond memories of him?
Yeah, fond members, yeah.
He's a nice looking fellow.
Because I'm only, Eugene, I was only 21 or 22.
Now you were quite a good looking woman.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But Eugene, you know what?
I think that when I see that picture, I was quite amazed that
Yeah.
you look different than Mom and Miriam
Yeah,
then.
because I was only 21 then, or 22.
You looked a bit like Marilyn Monroe.
What?
Your face.
Man,
No, you were very good looking, Alicia.
Oh, what's the God?
And he was a nice looking boy
his
too.
hands looking, but you know what?
And your mother was there with you in that
Yeah,
picture.
Mom, you know what, Eugene?
So was that had to be in Stephenville
That was
then?
in Stephenville. My mom and dad lived in Stephenville.
Yeah.
Then. Mom and Pop used to work for Mike Silver Company, see? And then he worked on the base. He used to be security guards out there. But you know what?
Magdalene never lived in Stephenville, did she?
Yes, it is so. Magdalene
Taught school.
taught school in Stephenville, and Magdalene and I used to live together
Mm.
after Pop and Mom went back to Northern Bay.
I see.
Magdalene taught school, yeah.
And did Mike and Dot come in there too?
Mike and Dorothy, yeah. They lived in there.
Amazing, huh? All of you
Dorothy
went
and
in there.
Mike, they lived down to Kippens.
And who went in first? I guess Mary and Mick went.
Mary and Mick, yeah.
And after that,
Mary didn't go with Nick. No. Nick
No, he went
to
Stephenville first.
2 years after Nick.
yeah,
years after.
but were they married at the time?
Oh my God,
Mary
yes.
had 4
Yeah, but
children.
he went in, and got some work, and then got established.
Yeah, but Mary went in after
But that's how it started. Mary and Mick went in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when Joe was born,
Yeah.
Mary, Mike and Dot, and Mom and Dad,
Yeah.
Alicia must be
but
gone.
they were all in Stephenville. when
Gertrude
Joe
gone? Where was
because
Gertrude?
Joe belonged to me.
Gertrude wasn't in Northern Bay?
No, she wasn't there then.
Where was she?
Oh shit then.
I don't know where Gertrude was.
She couldn't be up in Toronto then, way back years
Down
ago.
on the folly, down on Morse Bay. No, she wasn't there either.
She had to be better. She didn't live in Stephenville, did she?
No, she lived down in Glen.
No, she had to be there.
She had to be there, as far as I know.
She wasn't there in 1954, no. She would have been in next year after that, 1954. And Alicia wasn't in there either when Mom and Dad was there, no.
And Alicia, when you grow, when
Mom
Alicia,
and Dad, myself and Mom and Dad and Magdalene, we lived in one house, and Mrs. Glenn's up the road here.
you never bought the house, you rented it.
We rented it, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And when you
Now,
grow,
Mom and Dad, when Mom was in there, Dad worked for Mike Silver.
I see.
Yeah.
And
then
what was that? What was he doing?
He was a security guard.
I see.
Yeah, and Mom, myself and Magdalene and Mom and Pop, we lived in Mrs. Glenn's.
And do you remember what Pop said? Like, I want to go back to Northern Bay. I don't want to be
No, I
here.
never heard mention it.
You don't remember, do you?
And Magdalene taught school too.
Mm.
My sister Magdalene taught school, yeah.
Where did Magdalene meet Kevin at?
She must have been there in Newfoundland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now do you remember growing up? Were you aware growing up that your mother was adopted?
Yes, indeed I did.
At what age would you know that?
God, I don't know how old.
Did you know, Mom?
Yes,
No.
What?
I know the later
and
years.
we didn't know the later years.
Not in the,
Mary told me.
Mary
not when you were a young girl. You wouldn't know, would
no,
you?
not
No,
4 and
no.
5, 6 years old.
Mhm.
We didn't know.
Mary told me
Because
her
Eugene,
sister
my mom never told us.
No,
you know.
that was kind of
That's
taboo.
kind of taboo, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
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 And how about in the rooms there? Who did you sleep with?
Betty and I
Yeah,
used
three
to
was
sleep
sleeping in one
we slept in
bed.
a big bed.
3 of you.
And you know what we used to have? Carry the beach, no more beach rocks.
Beach rock.
Oh yeah.
But Eugene, if you told that to younger crowd,
I had a beach rock.
did you?
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you told that to Courtney and them, they laugh at you.
Mm.
Yeah. And the older people, the older people now, like my mother and my dad, they were very wise old people.
No, they were smart for
Now,
their.
not because they had all kinds of education.
No,
they
but
were
they
very
had
wise and intelligent.
they had just
Yeah.
common sense
Common
skills,
sense, yeah,
and they learned by living.
by living, yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Mm.
And the old people, Eugene, they worked hard.
Do you remember Alicia going up the curb near to see Ted Dwyer?
Oh, Ted the Warrior, yeah, but that was, Ted the Warrior was Pop's brother.
Yeah, but do you remember ever going up?
remember
Patricia Dwyer told me that's how Mike met Dot.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, because
Was it?
Dot was a gear, or Dot was a
butt.
butt,
Yeah.
and he said by Mike, and then we'd go up to see Ted,
Yeah.
and by chance Mike met Dot.
disappear.
And when Mike came out of the Navy, that's how he met Dorothy.
But he must be up there visiting, I mean.
Oh, was he?
Because why would he be in Carbonear, you
yeah.
see?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, Dorothy...
Did you go to Mike and any of the weddings?
Mike, way back... Yes, we were only young then.
No, whose wedding did you go to?
Whose wedding did we... Dorothy's.
Did you remember going to that?
Now, when Mike came out of the Navy, I was about 13 years old. Betty, you were about 14, right? Yeah.
When Mike got out of the Navy, Alicia said she's about 13.
And you were 14. Were you 14?
No, you was older than that.
I was 14 and you were 15.
So Mike went in the Navy. We were 11 or 12-year-old in, Alicia.
Well, Mike was in the Navy 4 and 5 half years.
Yeah, that's right. So 15, 16 years old.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Do you remember when he came home?
Yes, I remember when he came home, yeah.
And did you always, every night, how would you get news? That, like, what was going on in the war?
Well, what was your
Mom used to get it.
Would you listen to the radio?
By radio, that's all we had.
Mom and Dad had no battery radio.
Do you remember, like, during the war you had to turn off the lights so the German submarines?
Yeah.
We had put
You would turn all the blinds down?
No.
Yeah.
In Quebec, I had to go to Sacramento, California. Now, they had those old televisions.
Oh, yeah.
Now, do you know what I used to have to do, Eugene? I put a quarter in it for a whole hour.
You watch it?
You watch it. Now, in Newfoundland, and then when Booth saw whatever her name is from Cartwright Valley, Americans married to her, just come home. We used to go to Cartwright Valley. She brought the TV home, something like this, but before television came to Newfoundland.
That wasn't very advanced at the time, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I used to watch it.
What were you doing out in California?
In Quebec.
No, you said you're going to California.
Yeah, I had to go through there, to go through part of the ways, go on the flight, and I never cost me nothing to go to California.
But who did you go to California to see?
I was going to with Scott.
Oh, I see.
He sent me my plane ticket.
And did you ever go?
No.
Oh, you never went? Because you couldn't get your papers to get into the United States?
No, I didn't have it already.
Oh, I see.
And when Mom came back home, Mom said, oh, thank God she's back home. So I was praying for you to come back. You know, in the old days, you know one,
They thought you were going a long ways away.
Yeah. Now, I tell you, you know Jewish people. Ben Swartz were Jewish. Albert Karkowski, I worked for Ben Swartz and Broadgood and Groceries, and Albert Karkowski. They were all Jewish people. Now, September month, the 25th September, they will have the Christmas. 25th of hours, they have the stores open. And they still, though nobody knows what December or September Christ, but it was born. And all Jewish people say it's the 25th of September. And all Jewish people celebrate the Christmas at 25th of September. And we celebrate ours.
Well, they celebrate Hanukkah.
Hanukkah, yeah.
Yeah. And were the Jews treated any poorly at the time?
Poorly, yeah.
Because they were Jewish. Were they
Jewish people.
Were they treated not well?
They weren't treated best, no.
Because they were considered, they killed Christ and all that stuff.
This old
Remember that stuff?
Yeah. Well, see, look, Eugene, we are called Roman Catholics. Now, I call myself a Newfoundland Catholic. We were never born in Rome. Rome was formed in Rome, the church, you know. And when you go back and you study religion, right? And I just studied in the convent. Now, you will be surprised that things went on you way back years ago. You don't believe what went on? And you know what's happened today? Now, what's happened is over religion and over the oil. Now, I was watching there about this with water. Eventually, in years to come, you'll have to pay, be fighting over the war. Over water. Over water, rather.
So who'd ever even think that in Newfoundland we would be drinking bottled water?
Yeah.
Can you imagine what's going on in other countries?
And other countries, yeah.
Imagine their water problem.
Well, Eugene, you used to see, them tears come down over my eyes one night. I was watching. Here was this little fella. His mother died, and the youngest little fella. Do you know what you pick up off the road? Some kind of peanuts or some kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And they were hungry and starving. There's more little children hungry and starving than in the world. If you only knew the money as well, and it costs billions and thousands of dollars a day for the wars, even the equipment. And you take up on Redcliffe. When Americans left and went back to California, the States, if you only knew the stuff, new cars and everything was
stuff was abandoned.
No, all buried.
Yeah.
Cost up to thousands and billions of dollars.
Yeah. Same with down all over the world.
All over, and you take over other countries. But God, every day the wars, it's costing billions and thousands. This is why there's no little child in this world should be hungry.
No.
It's all over religion and fighting. You know. Yeah.
And what do you remember most about going to growing up in Northern Bay?
Oh, man, God, we were happy.
Do you remember going to the old church Christmas?
Yes, we have gone to Christmas.